Welcome back to round 3 of the MFL draft here on Sofa Sports TV. We have already done round 1, round 2, so if you haven't seen those, you can go check them out. I'm not going to link them on the screen because I'm going to forget, but if I did, they'd be on the screen. This is an interesting round. There's some great picks of this. There's some picks that wait till the end. I'm just telling you, wait till the end of this video because there's a pick that me and Noah both have some opinions on. And for the most part, we've been pretty chill, even keel, mellow for most of the picks. We might not be as mellow for some of these picks. But let's get into it. First pick of the third round, 13th overall, Jaguars, because of the snake draft, they got to pick first in the third round. They drafted cornerback Flynn Kirby, 6'1", 194, age 25, former Axemen from the UFS, as they seem to like drafting former Axemen players.
Yeah, and it seems like the Axemen did have a lot of the best players. Who knew? Championship team good. But yeah, so he's been another guy that I looked at as this is going to be a really tough guy to play against. He's got the speed. Obviously, he's going to be able to keep up with receivers. He's going to be a guy that's going to be able to cover. But just overall, a very solid talent. And just watching him on the outside and what he's been able to do, it's been really impressive watching him grow as a player, and even in this draft process, becoming an even better player.
Yeah, it's really hard to argue with this pick. We were talking about this off air, but the fact that we really like what Jaguars have been doing in their draft strategy. Hey, taking Axemen players isn't a bad strategy, but you look at what Kirby has done in the UFS, led the league in interceptions with 9. This dude had 9 interceptions in 12 games with 3 double-digit interception games. He's just a ball hawk. He's an absolute ball hawk. You add him on the secondary, and it's a great cornerstone piece. And that's what this draft's about, because you have 53 roster spots to fill, 11 rounds to get your cornerstone players, and then the rest will be filled in free agency. So these are about your cornerstone players, and Flynn Kirby is a cornerstone player on your defense.
Definitely.
Moving on to the next pick, the Jaguars took defensive end Sid Burke, 6'5", 270, also age 25, another former UFS player for the Vikings to pair with Alex Rose and Josh Butterly.
Yeah, and Sid Burke, another guy that I've been interested in. He's a real funny guy. Just having him in, being able to talk to him, real funny guy, real big jokester. But again, another really strong player. That he's one of the strongest. He was in a bench rep competition with some of these other bigger guys, and he held his own. And like he's gonna be right up there. He's gonna be a guy. Maybe you can slide him in at D tackle if you really need to, but I like him at end. And I think that he's gonna be a really solid player, a player that's going to be able to get to the quarterback, stop the run, do all the things you would expect a defensive lineman to do.
Yeah, and I think the thing with him is you're going for the upside, the potential, because Sid Burke, he was on the Regulars, and we've talked about this before. Regulars are a little bit of a dead zone when it came to players. They had a lot of talent, but they did not perform well. Sid Burke was another one of those guys. Lots of talent, no sacks on the season. He had 5 tackles for loss all season. Statistically didn't show up. But obviously, like you said, strength. He's a very physically fit dude. He has the physical ability to be successful, and we'll just have to see if that translates to this level. At 15th overall, third pick of the third round, is Chargers taking defensive end, another defensive end, back-to-back defensive end, Sawyer Masters, 6'3", 256, another former UFS guy. And I'll tell you, Noah, I know talking to Craven that Sawyer Masters was very high on his board. In fact, he was considering taking Masters all the way back in the. He was considering him basically off the bat. Even in the first round, the thought had crossed his mind. So getting him in that third round, he was very close to taking him in that second round, and having him in the third round, he was pretty happy about getting this dude to shore up his defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of shored up your offense right away with Boone and Ellsworth, so going to the defense and getting a guy like Sawyer Masters. He's done really well with what he was given, and watching him come around the edge, watching him get through some offensive linemen, really interesting prospect. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say that I've done a lot of research on him, but he's a guy that I think could become a very talented player. I think this was when it comes to the rest of the defensive linemen on the board, I think this was a really, really solid pick of who was left. So thumbs up from me.
Thumbs up from no, yeah. Uh, if you take a look at him, he's just another one of those guys, very strong, a power rusher kind of guy who also can be extremely good in the run game. So I think that's why he got taken. I mean, he was solid in the UFS. It wasn't groundbreaking numbers, but he's very solid, especially against the run. So we'll see what he does in the next level. Moving on, we have at the 16th overall selection a guard. Seahawks going back-to-back offensive linemen. We got Raid Hudson, and this one is a WFA guy here slotting in at the 16th overall pick.
Yeah, and Hudson, another one of these guys that is coming in, and he's going to be another solid veteran, 28 years old, 6'3", 300. Um, and him and George Williams are going to be like the grandfathers of this team, not necessarily in age, because of course at 28 he's only 3 years older than most of these prospects, but just having that league experience, having the career he's had so far. He's played for a couple different teams, but the team I remember most from is the Phoenix Fighters, and what backing up a current wide receiver in this class who was the quarterback for them at the time. Maybe we'll get to say his name a bit later. But Raid Hudson, uh, another really strong player. Lots of strength coming out of this round, and he shows it, and he can do it. Pass blocking, run blocking, very well rounded guy. Great pick right here.
You might say that this was a strong round.
Yes, yes.
Moving on, 17th overall selection, tight end for the Commanders. Select tight end Troy West. Now this guy's interesting. 6'5", 245, so he's a big dude, and is one of the best jumpers we've seen. That's a combination at tight end.
Yeah, and I'll be fully honest, I overlooked this guy really hard. I didn't even notice him really until I saw him jump. When I saw him do the high jump, like swan down those little spinny plastic bits, like he nearly broke the thing. He's just jumping so high, and having that in your offense, having that in your arsenal, knowing with Michael McCaw as well, you're gonna be really really solid when it comes to goal line offense, like inside the 20. Just being able to throw it up to a guy to where only he can get it is going to be really, really crazy. And once we see what quarterback they get, and as we know, DB's probably not going to draft a quarterback for a while, but once he gets one, if he's able to throw those back shoulder fades and just jump balls, this is going to be a really scary offense.
Yeah, he played for the Montana Big Sky, Big Drip, represent Montana Big Sky and the UFS. They went all the way to the championship game on a little bit of a Cinderella run. He had a quiet season for the most part. He didn't really flash big, except for 1 week, and that's where we really got to see his potential. 7 catches, 201 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He averaged 28.7 yards per catch.
That's impressive.
That's the ceiling of this dude. A+ pick for me. From me here. I think that the Commanders absolutely smashed this pick out of the park.
Yeah, and like I don't know exactly who was on that team, but I'm expecting that he wasn't a focal point of the offense. DB is putting his chips into the Troy West basket, putting him with Michael McCaw, and they are going to be the 1-2 punch. So they're going to get a lot of playing time and a lot of targets. So we're going to see more more likely than not, we're going to be seeing more of that uh, uh, im- important and elite performance out of him.
Definitely.
Here we are. Should
We've
I take
come.
it first?
We've
And I'll
come.
let you collect your thoughts.
I'll let you take
So I
it
don't have a
first.
lot to say.
From
Uh,
would you like to announce it? We'll let you
yeah,
announce
I
this
got
pick.
it.
So
The end of the third round, with the 18th pick, the Dallas Cryboys select Jim Brock, a 30-year-old journeyman quarterback, 6'1", 218. He's pretty decent as far as seeing the field and being a little deception guy. I've seen him run some play action drills, really, really solid. Um, but like he's not the most talented person in the world, and it really makes you wonder. And I'm sure you, who have seen Jim Brock more than I have, will be able to say even more about him.
it's actually not about how much more I've seen him than you, because I haven't, and that's kind of the point. No one's seen Jim Brock play. Jim Brock, a 30-year-old quarterback who's, as far as I know, never touched a professional field in the UFS. He was a backup. I don't even know what team he was on. He could have been on the Montana Big Sky. He could have been on Alaska. I have no clue what team Jim Brock was on right now. And, there's nothing against Jim Brock. Like you said, he has some talent. Obviously, he's pretty good at being able to see the field. But, like, there's quarterbacks on this list, younger quarterbacks with far more upside, at least from a surface perspective. You had the number 2 overall pick from the UFS, Wally Faulkner, still on the board. You have Paul Jackson and Kelvin Atwood, who are both of Logan's quarterbacks in the UFS, on the board. DeAndre Washington, a WFA legend. Jack Rooney, a WFA legend, who both of those two guys had some solid games in the prospect games. But no, you go off the board, not a Brad Sorensen, not even a Travis Matthews. You go to a Jim Brock, a guy who I didn't even think was going to get drafted or signed, let alone go in the first 3 rounds. But here we are with the Cowboys taking him. And now, all this could be a moot point because maybe Logan knows something we don't. Maybe he
Maybe he
knows
does.
he has a plan for him.
I mean, he's paying the guy, so gotta have
So,
something for him.
but that's I don't exactly. This is a miss for me. This is a first miss for me, and maybe time will change my perception of this. But as it sits now, it's a miss. But that's gonna.
And if you're looking for, I'm looking for a veteran quarterback. There were better veteran quarterbacks on the board. If you're looking for a guy who's going to see the field, there were better quarterbacks on the board. If you're looking for a guy with solid throw power, there were better quarterbacks on the board. So no matter where you look at it, there was always going to be somebody better, and probably somebody who can do everything that Brock can do better.
That's gonna do it for us in this one. Third round recap over with. Go see the other ones and check out round 4 when we get a chance to get that up. And we'll see you next time.